The Supreme Court just made a ruling that's sending shockwaves through the education system. They've given the green light to the Trump administration's plan to slash funding for certain teacher training programs. It's a decision that has ignited a firestorm of controversy, with some praising it as a victory for fiscal responsibility and others condemning it as a devastating blow to education. One thing's for sure, this ruling will have a ripple effect on classrooms across the country. The programs on the chopping block aren't your average professional development seminars. They're designed to help teachers hone their craft, stay current with the latest research, and address the unique challenges of today's classrooms. Proponents of these programs argue that they're essential for ensuring that teachers have the tools they need to help all students succeed. Opponents of the funding cuts argue that they will disproportionately harm schools in low-income communities, which often rely on these programs to provide their teachers with high-quality training. They worry that the cuts will exacerbate existing inequalities in the education system and make it even harder for students from disadvantaged backgrounds to get ahead. The Supreme Court's decision has brought the debate about teacher training to the forefront of national conversation. It's a debate that's likely to continue for years to come as educators, policymakers, and parents grapple with the best way to prepare teachers for the challenges of 21st century education. These programs weren't just about adding another certificate to a teacher's resume. They were about equipping educators with the skills and knowledge they need to make a real difference in the lives of their students. Some programs focused on helping teachers differentiate instruction for diverse learners. Others provided training on using technology effectively in the classroom. Still others helped teachers develop strategies for creating inclusive and supportive learning environments. The court's decision to cut funding for these programs wasn't based on their merit but rather on a legal technicality. The Trump administration argued that the programs were being funded through an improper interpretation of federal law, and in a narrow ruling, the Supreme Court agreed. The decision has left many educators feeling frustrated and disillusioned. They argue that the Trump administration is using the law as a pretext to advance an ideological agenda that prioritizes privatization and school choice over investment in public education. They point to the administration's repeated attempts to cut funding for public schools, and its support for voucher programs that divert public funds to private schools. The debate over teacher training programs is just one battle in a larger war over the future of public education in America. It's a war with high stakes, as the quality of our schools has a direct impact on the economic competitiveness of our nation and the well-being of our citizens. The impact of this decision will be felt most acutely in the hallways and classrooms of schools across the country. Teachers, already stretched thin by large class sizes and limited resources, may now find themselves with even less support. This is particularly concerning for teachers in high-need schools, which often serve students who face significant academic and social-emotional challenges. Without access to high-quality training, teachers may be less equipped to meet the diverse needs of their students. This could lead to a widening of the achievement gap between students from different socioeconomic backgrounds. It could also lead to increased teacher burnout and attrition, as teachers become increasingly demoralized by the lack of support they receive. The decision could also have a chilling effect on innovation in education. Without the funding to support professional development, school districts may be less likely to experiment with new teaching methods or adopt innovative curricula. This could stifle progress in education and leave students ill-prepared for the challenges of the 21st century workforce. The Supreme Court's decision is a stark reminder of the challenges facing public education in America. It's a reminder that even in a nation as wealthy as ours, we still struggle to provide our children with the quality education they deserve. This isn't just a story about budget cuts and legal technicalities, it's a story about values. It's about what we, as a society, prioritize. Do we value education enough to invest in the people who dedicate their lives to it? Do we recognize the vital role that teachers play in shaping the minds of future generations? The Supreme Court's decision has sparked a national conversation about these fundamental questions. It has forced us to confront uncomfortable truths about the state of our education system and the challenges facing our teachers. The reactions to the decision have been swift and impassioned. Teachers' unions have condemned the ruling, calling it a direct attack on educators and the students they serve. Civil rights groups have expressed concern that the decision will disproportionately harm students of color and those from low-income backgrounds. On the other side of the aisle, conservative groups have praised the ruling, arguing that it will give states more control over education spending and reduce the role of the federal government in education. They argue that market-based reforms such as charter schools and voucher programs are more effective at improving education quality than increased spending on traditional public schools. The debate over teacher training is far from over. It is a debate that goes to the heart of what we believe about education, equality, and the role of government in our lives. It is a debate that will continue to shape the future of our nation for generations to come.